Matthew, that's naughty saying us women are liars. I didn't say you women are liars. I don't know what you're talking about. You have just described me. Do men hide their feelings even if they are attracted to you? Uh, yeah, a lot of guys will, right? Because they've found the same thing that a lot of women do. And so sometimes I'll have women that'll come to me, right? And they're like, how do I tell this man that I'm dating how I feel about him, right? And my advice to that is always, when did I ever say that you should tell some man that you're dating like everything about how you feel about him? That's not on the list of things that connect with a man or make a man value you more or anything like that, right? Like there's kind of these two worlds, right? One is being honest, and the other world is way overboard honesty, like throwing out things that you don't need to say or do or any of that kind of stuff because you're trying to be honest, right? There's a whole bunch of things that you don't tell people that about yourself, right? You don't tell people about the last bowel movement you had. You probably don't tell people about, every meal that you've cooked. Why? Because it's not necessary. It's not necessary to tell somebody about a whole bunch of things that aren't relevant to that or is going to negatively impact things. And so if you're telling a guy that you really like him when you don't know how he feels about you yet, it's likely to kind of throw things off, right? He's likely to feel like you're moving too fast for him and that you're going to end up being clingy and needy and desperate and all kinds of low self-esteem and all kinds of other things. And it'll be a huge turnoff. And so guys have experienced the same thing. Guys have experienced this all over the place where they've bought women flowers and the woman just walked all over him or slept with his friend or like he confessed his feelings to a woman and then she ghosted him right afterwards, right? So guys have experienced all of these things, and guys have fallen in love with women who have cheated on them and used them or slept with their friends or whatever, right? And so a lot of people will associate falling in love and admitting their feelings and telling people about what's going on with them from an emotional standpoint as actually being really painful because they've done it in the past, and it's backfired in their faces because it's not a good strategy to do that, especially if that person hasn't told you about their feelings, or if you're with somebody that you're just with them because you're attracted to them and not because they're actually a good person to be with, which happens a lot. I mean, it happens all the time where men and women will just use their hearts and they'll fall in love with somebody and they're like, and then they come to somebody like me, or on the men's dating side, somebody like me, and they're like, oh, there's this person. And I was actually just talking to a guy about 2 weeks ago about this, who came to me and he was like, oh, there's this woman and, she's doing all these horrible things. Right. And, what should I do to keep her? And I'm like, why are you trying to keep a woman who's, just doing these horrible, like red flag things all over the place? Right. And he's like, well, because I really like her. And it's like, yeah, but that's going to end at some point, right? There's going to be some point where you're not as smitten about her, or you feel differently about her, and you're going to wake up from the being love drunk. It's something I call love drunk, right? You're going to get sober from your love drunkenness, and you're going to realize that this person isn't actually a good person for you to be with, and you're going to be like, oh my God, maybe I should, I've already gotten married to this person, right? I've already done all these things with this person. And so a lot of guys are afraid of actually falling for women because what they've found is that when they fall for women, it's usually a really bad situation, right? Like a lot of guys and a lot of women have patterns where they find, if they're like, wow, if I'm in a relationship with this or if I'm totally in love with this person, then it might be a red flag, right? That I'm totally in love with this person because I keep being attracted to all these really toxic people. And so, yes, the answer is yes. Men can hide. The quick answer is yes. Men do hide their feelings sometimes if they're attracted to you. So Even if they're not in a relation, or if they're not actually even dating you, a lot of times they'll do that because they don't know how you're going to feel about it. They don't, they don't want to embarrass themselves and all that kind of stuff. So you might want to just, if there's a guy and you think he's interested in you, what you might want to do is just start flirting with him a little bit. Just, just say things, or accuse him. Another great way of doing it is accusing him of being attracted to you. That works great. It's called force framing. It's a really, really powerful thing to do. So